Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The church is the sleeping giant of American politics. We are living at a crucial time in which the mission of the church is, in a sense, different than it's been in the past in this country, because from the beginning of the country until, you may say, a generation ago, America was unquestionably a Christian society. So Christian assumptions were embedded in ordinary American life and could be taken for granted. If you walked up to someone in America in 1950 and said, do you agree that the 10 Commandments is a good way to live and that America would be a better place if everybody lived by them? Pretty much everyone would say yes, even if they weren't a practicing Christian. But today, we are living in secular society. It reminds me almost of the early Christians who had to go to Persia and India and make their case to people who had alien philosophies and cosmologies. So now we are Christians speaking truth into secular culture, and that gives our voice, I think, an added urgency. The other thing that's changed in America is our politics have taken a dark turn. And we have lived through it, and we have seen it. And the big question is, how do we understand it? And what do we do about it? So the first thing that's, I think, become very clear is that part of the agenda of the secular left is to move America in the direction of socialism. Their goal is the United States of Socialism. Now, on the first glance, this appears to be completely insane. Socialism is the most discredited philosophy since slavery. And in fact, it became discredited, collapsed all over the world because it was seen by its chief writers, people like Solzhenitsyn and George Orwell and Hayek, as a form of slavery. Now, obviously, today slavery has been abolished. There are certain forms of slavery that still go on, like sex trafficking and so on, but you don't have any party in America or in the world that advocates for slavery. You don't have people who say things like, slavery was actually an excellent idea, just the implementation was always poor. But this time we're going to get slavery right. But this is exactly what people say about socialism, that we're going to make it work this time. Now, when you think about socialism, and when Marx thought about socialism, he spoke about socialism mainly in terms of economics, in terms of money, in terms of a divide in society between the rich and the poor. But we are seeing a new type of socialism that goes beyond that. If you meet a socialist in America today, they care more about abortion than the minimum wage. They care more about the transgender bathroom than they do about universal basic income. So the point I'm making is that this socialism is not just about economic confiscation. It is ultimately also about dividing America in many different ways, not just rich against poor, but black against white, and male against female, and straight against gay, and legal against illegal. So the idea here is the politics of division. And this socialism isn't just a matter of political parties. The worst culprits are outside the parties. They are in academia, they are in the media, they are in Hollywood and the whole entertainment industry. And they have been waging not just a political fight, but a culture war against us. If you look at a typical Hollywood movie, I'm not talking about documentaries, I'm talking about feature films. And try to think about, in the movies you watched over the past 20, who are the villains? Who are the bad guys? Well, typically they're going to be some entrepreneur who's engaged in financial shenanigans, or it's going to be the patriarchal dad. This is the attack on the family. You look at teenage comedies, for example, usually the kids are smart and the parents are dumb. But the dumbest of all is going to be the patriarchal father. Or the villain is a pastor. He's some sort of pastor who's a secret member of the Ku Klux Klan. So this is the way in which narrative and culture is used to attack, you may say, entrepreneurial and conservative and Christian values. Now, what is the goal of the secular left? Think about it. They have academia, they have the media, they have Hollywood. You think they'd be content. But no, they want everything. They want the NFL. They want a bunch of guys who bounce a ball. They want the Boy Scouts. They want the Christian baker in Colorado. You better bake a cake. And if you don't do it, we're going to sue you. And if you go to the Supreme Court and win, we'll sue you again. And the point isn't just to terrorize that guy. It's to terrorize everybody. So we all realize we better not be like that guy, because that's going to be our fate. So ultimately, this is about making us conform. And it's ultimately about making us live in their world and by their rules. And if we don't do it, we're going to be punished. Our churches are going to be shut down. We're going to be thrown out of our jobs. We're going to be kicked off digital media. We won't be able to have any kind of public presence or public life. We'll be branded as hateful. And so the question is, what do we do about this? Do we agree to live in their world? Or if not, we have to create our own. And by that I mean our own educational institutions, our own entertainment, our own movies, our own comedy. They might seem to have it all, these huge megaphones of culture, as I sometimes call them, but we have one giant megaphone, very often unused, but not here, I'm happy to say, because that megaphone is the church, and that secret weapon is us. Now, the other side knows that we are the party of the nice guys, the straight-laced people, the people who actually pray for civility and want to play by the rules. And the other side exploits this innocence in the belief that we are suckers. They think that they can knock down our monuments. And I'm not just talking about Confederate monuments, I'm talking about the monument to Frederick Douglass, to Abraham Lincoln, the monument to the guys who built the missions, the monument to Jesus Christ. They can knock down our monuments because they believe those guys will never knock down our monuments. And we can pack the court because we know that even if they were in charge, they wouldn't dream of packing the court. And we can unleash the police agencies of government, the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ, and go after them, our political opponents. Why? Because we know that even if they control the deep state, they would never do it to us. So the point is, I think as Christians we've got to realize that they take advantage of the fact that we play by the rules. They don't play by the rules, and they don't get held accountable for it. I mean, I actually was locked up in overnight confinement for 8 months for giving $20,000 to a college friend of mine who was running for political office. But here you have guys who are, doing illegal surveillance, giving the order in the Oval Office, collecting money from foreign governments, taking family members as bagmen to go along with them, all kinds of shenanigans. When are those guys going to go to prison? That's what I want to know. When I was a student, one of my professors told me the story of the lion tamer and the lion. So here's the lion tamer, this puny little guy with a stick. And here's the lion, this huge, scary lion. And what happens is the lion tamer does little things with the stick, and the lion obediently moves to the machinations of the lion tamer. And my professor's question was, who is more powerful, the lion tamer or the lion? And of course the answer is the lion. But then you have a puzzle. If the lion is more powerful, why is the lion so obediently and sycophantically following the instructions of the lion tamer? And the answer, of course, is that the lion doesn't know its own power. The lion thinks the lion tamer is more powerful. And here we are in America, and you've got all these big institutions and all these strutting politicians and all these pompous liars out there, and they're all leaning over you and making you feel like you're powerless. But the truth of the matter is, there is an election day coming when you get to have your say. And my point is, this is the time when we have to realize that the power is ultimately with us. We are the lion, and it's time for us to roar. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.